Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Q&A show on Inside the Birds platform, the YouTube channel. Thank you guys for tuning in for all that you do each and every week. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Avant. I'm here with my main man, Quentin Michael. Q, say what's up to the people.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I hope everybody's doing good out there. It's good to be back. Good to see you, Jay, as always, man. I like that
Always.
hat. I like the hat. What's that say, Dad?
Yeah, dog, this is one of them hats that Nick Foles gave me. It's the dad season hat.
There you go.
Yeah, you
I
know,
like
we
that.
dads, yeah. So it's good. I got an
That's
extra
what's
one
up,
for you
man.
too.
Yeah,
Next
hook
come
me
back,
up,
I get
man.
you, I get you an extra one.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. The Eagles win a game against the Commanders Thursday night, 26-18. We're going to dive right into that. Before we do, thank you to everyone that's tuning in. Make sure you email your questions to insidethebirds@gmail.com. Also, to Adam and to Jeff and to Josh, everyone at Inside the Birds, we appreciate all that you do for us and always having fun on this show. And thank you guys again for tuning in. The Eagles beat the Commanders 26-18. It was a big Thursday night game. One of those games where people have been saying the entire year the Eagles have not played anyone besides the Packers, and then discrediting that win. And now the Commanders come in town, and I've been picking them as the best team in the division for a while, just because they played the best thus far. And the Eagles said, "Not so fast, my friend." Laid the smackdown late in that game, improved to, 8-2. And your big picture takeaway of a win like that against a team that's clearly a playoff team.
Yeah, man, that's a good team. That's a good football team. Good young quarterback, exciting. Young players. Dan Quinn's a very good coach. He's been, proven in this league to win some games, and it's just their first year. So, definitely, I'm proud of this win. Definitely a good win, and that's a good team. So, it's a good step in the right direction.
All right, so Q. Now, here's the thing. I'm gonna put you on the spot right here. When it comes to the Eagles being an NFC favorite, do you think they put themselves in position? I don't want you to speak from your Eagles, affinity, your brotherhood, your favoritism. I want you to speak from just a pure analyst perspective here. Where do you see the Eagles and the Lions and the other teams in NFC? Where do you think they stack up?
So I think they're right there with the Lions. I mean, they're a tough team. Lions have a lot of weapons. They
Mm-hmm.
play with energy. They play with aggressiveness. So that's definitely the team to beat. The Vikings are definitely one of those teams as well that are very dangerous. The NFC East is just falling off. So besides the Commanders, the Cowboys are looking terrible. They don't have a quarterback right now. The Giants just benched Danny Dimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, really the big three right now, in my opinion, is the Eagles, the Vikings, and the Lions. And the Lions are probably at the top of that threshold right now.
Yeah, mm, the Eagles let me know that, man, this team can win football games not playing their best. And that's the thing that you're seeing from this team. It's not so much that we were able to dominate the Commanders at the end of that game. It was, to me, it was okay, this team isn't playing well and still have the ability to be dominant. And
Mhm.
before you know it, they score 6 points, and then they go on a 20-0, run or whatever it is, like that. And it happens in all of, you know, 6, 7 minutes where it happens like that fast. So I think that the Eagles are right there. I think the Lions are still the best team in the division, but I think the Eagles will make this thing interesting, especially if Detroit messes around and slip up, because you don't want to come to the link
No.
in January. That's not a place that you want to come. And the Lions at home, I'm pretty sure, will be tough in there with that dome, especially with the starving fans, knowing that they haven't had much success in recent history. So either place is not one that you want to play. So I think it'll come down to whoever has home field advantage, and hopefully the Eagles continue to string some wins together.
Absolutely. I agree with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just thinking about how cold it is in Philly in January.
Man, you know what? Right now it's almost almost the end of November. It's 70 degrees today, so you never know what happens nowadays. You
That's
never
true.
know what happens. All right, let's get into it. Topic one: defense versus the Commanders. What did the Eagles do defensively against the Washington's fourth ranked offense that really stood out?
Yeah, to me, what really stood out it was two things. I thought Vic Fangio did a fantastic job creating one-on-ones across the board. Oftentimes, he was using unique fronts again.
Mm-hmm.
The two head up on the guard fronts with wide nines. He was kicking down Sean. Bond on the end, creating one-on-ones across the board,
Mm-hmm.
changing up the coverages, showing different looks, rotating late. And so I think that the game plan that Vic Fangio had was really, really solid. And like I said, it created these one-on-one matchups. And I don't think that, especially with the injuries that the Commanders' offensive line had, that they would be able to hold up against our defensive front with those one-on-one matchups across the board. And the other side of it that really surprised me is you got a young quarterback. And now I know he's been playing at a high level, but he's coming off injured. He's playing injured right now. He's got the broken ribs. Um, and I noticed that in the game plan there was a lot of five release, like a lot of pony personnel, which is two backs,
Mm-hmm.
which was Brian uh,
We have Ryan
uh,
Robinson and
Robinson and
Eckler.
Eckler in the backfield, right? So those aren't really blocking type running backs. They're releasing. Tight end, you got Zach Ertz in, but he's releasing a lot. So essentially, you playing most of the game in empty sets against a defensive front that's relentless with the pass rush. And then now you got a secondary that's coming around and starting to understand where to be.
Mm-hmm.
You basically got a rookie quarterback that's seeing some new stuff that he's not used to seeing with some new coverages, and he's injured, and nobody's getting open. And so it was kind of a recipe for disaster, I think, game plan wise from the Commanders. I don't think that that was the right idea to come out without establishing a run and giving that guy some protection, giving Jaden Daniels some protection. So it was kind of like a total tornado kind of situation for that offense. If
Hmm.
that makes sense. I kind of went on
No,
a
no,
little
no.
tangent there.
That's not a tangent. That's good. That's good stuff. I think that's good insight. I agree with you. I thought that the biggest game plan or how the Eagles did was basically the defensive front, and namely um, Jalen Carter.
Mhm.
His ability to rush the pass rusher is special because he had a lot of one on ones. He was shooting gaps left and right. It was his game that he played was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He didn't play good. That was an unbelievable game. And he didn't get a sack, but he forced a lot. And he had 7 tackles from the defensive tackle position, which is unheard of. That's
Yeah.
unheard of. Like defensive tackles don't get 7 tackles. It just doesn't happen. That's like 3 games worth for a defensive tackle, maybe more. It's
Yeah.
just not something that happens. They force a lot of plays and get it into the defensive end or the linebackers, make allow them to make the play. But for how dominant he was, and then there was multiple times where he could have got a holding call and didn't get
Yeah.
the call. So I think that he wrecked their game plan for most of the day when it came to passing. And then to me, it was they didn't have much. They don't have much creativity to get the ball to the receivers. Now they had creativity to get the ball to running backs and tight ends, but when it came to receiver routes, it was basically stagnant stuff. Just ISO run a comeback on Quinyon Mitchell, which wasn't that successful, or run a post, and we played cover four most of the time. Like and our guys are in position. They understand it. There was a few times where they game planned us and there was somebody open, but the quarterback missed the throw. I don't think that the Commanders played extremely well. But again, We tackled the ball for the most part. The only time that we made mistakes is when, we didn't recognize coverage. And that was it. There was a sound defense. I just think that our defense is getting better. Did you see Nakobe Dean, Q?
Yeah.
Open field twice on Jaden Daniels? Like
Yeah.
twice. Zach Bond got him once too. Like open field. That's why I was like, I don't know if I don't know if he that healthy, but even still, for him to be able to tackle the quarterback in a one-on-one situation on third down
Yeah.
is very impressive.
Huge plays. Huge plays.
Yeah, huge
Yeah.
plays. Yeah, that was me talking and keep talking. Go ahead.
Oh no. All right. So you want to go to the next question?
Yeah.
All right. So Jay, Terry McLaurin caught one pass for 10 yards late. Um, was that a true lockdown, what would you expect from McLaurin when they meet again in 5 weeks?
Um, it's tough to say if it was true lockdown because based on the coverages that were played and also Washington's game plan was mainly to get the ball to the running backs and tight ends. That was the game plan. There was a few times where he was keyed on to Terry McLaurin, and Quinion made him turn 2 or 3 times. He ended up open, but it was just too late, which is clamp basically. So you got open, but it took you an extra step. The quarterback like I go somebody else, and that's the one thing about Jaden Daniels is that he doesn't have the patience to wait for you to get open. He goes to his next read.
Yeah.
That's what makes him good. So if you're a guy that doesn't get open on time, you're not getting the ball from him. And that's what Quinion did in that game. It was mainly throwing off their time. I would say that if it was a different quarterback, Terry McLaurin would have got more passes, but because it was Jaden Daniels, he was able to get him off. So I won't necessarily, I don't know if it's true lockdown, but for this game, it was lockdown. And for most games, it will be. But if you catch a guy that holds the ball a little bit long and trusts, some of those
Yeah.
will be catches. You know what I mean? Like Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers gonna hold on to Devontae Adams a little bit longer.
That's fair.
Yeah, so it depends on the game. So, but in this particular game, Quinion Mitchell did put clamps on Terry McLaurin. Now, however, there was definitely times where the guy was open, but they weren't able to get him the ball. But there was multiple times again where he was looking dead at him, and it was no cigar. So we're going to see. We're going to see. I think all of the aftermath, just the whole talk of Quinion being the shutdown corner and all this stuff, that makes people want to attack him.
True.
So I think Terry McLaurin is going to come in here in 5 weeks or go down there in 5 weeks and have a big point to prove. So I just want Quinion to be prepared when people start calling you a lockdown corner. People start testing you a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like I don't think
Yeah.
that teams have like targeted him like that because the coverage has been good.
Yeah.
But teams haven't thrown a ball at him at a bunch. I thought that they can, but they haven't. So which is a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you see it?
Hey man, I just love he got the nickname Quinyanamo Bay right there.
Quinion
That
Bay.
Quinyanamo Bay lockdown, 24-hour lockdown.
Oh
All
my
right. And
gosh.
then you know when you get the nicknames, then that's what, like you said, it's gonna start getting challenging for him. You get them nicknames. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I agree with you, man. I feel like he plays it's funny, it's a unique thing because he plays really good zone coverage. But I do feel like he can be a man corner as well. So, he's unique in that sense of he can do both. He's still young. He's still got some things to learn. Even in this last game,
Mhm.
couple of plays, you can tell that he's still young and he's still learning the game and learning how to read certain routes and stuff. But he's playing lights out, man. He's been shutting people down, whether he's playing zone or scheme or whatever. So I think we will see a little bit of Scary Terry coming back here in 5 weeks, but I still got my man Quinyanamo Bay. He's gonna lock him down.
So here's the thing: people are so confused because everyone thinks that he's a man and he's not. Just
Mhm.
because you press cover 3 or you press cover 4 doesn't mean that you're a man. You still have rules. and
Yep.
your ruse is still the same if it was off or press. And Quinyon does that sometimes where he presses in situations which makes it seems like man to man, and people don't realize that it's zone. So like, oh, they're arguing with me on social media about being. I'm like, dude, we play zone most of the time. Like, no, he's in man to man. I'm like, no, he isn't. You can press zone, guys. So, but I'll let them live because the young man is rumbling and he's playing extremely well, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of what he does. He's always in good position. He always is challenging the ball. But I tell you this, you know who did play well? Mikey Samerstill from the Commanders. Oh my
Oh
God.
yeah. I was like, who is this dude?
Michigan, that's who that was.
Is he
Mikey
from Michigan? Is he from
Mikey
Michigan?
Yes. But
Man,
he did though. He was balling though.
I don't like him no more. I
You
thought he
know,
was
like
doing all right, man.
I was like, but here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. He was a receiver for 3 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's why he could play the ball. So he was a receiver for 3 years, and then
What
they
you trying
switched.
to
To my
what you trying to
point.
say, man? What you
To
trying to
my
say, man?
point. My point. And people don't like to ever hear my points. To my point. If you are a receiver, it's easier to transition to corner than it is from corner to receiver. So who's the better athlete? You.
Nah, bruh.
You, it's
No.
the truth.
No. No.
Jalen
There.
Ramsey, Antonio Cromartie, um, Trayvon did like when you look at Charles, when you look at all of them, all the best ones were receivers that got converted. I'm just telling you the truth, Q. The best athletes are on this side of the ball.
No, that is not that is
I'm
not true.
just
That is
telling
not
you.
true. Okay. There's been plenty of studies that have come out about this. That defensive back is the hardest position to play next to quarterback.
I believe you. What I'm saying is that that's for most of the world that's looking at it from this perspective. From a receiver's perspective, I'm telling you, we are better athletes than you guys.
No, you're
So
not.
we're the same thing, but we can catch.
You can't backpedal. Y'all
Yes,
know
we
when you
can.
come off the ball, you know exactly
Every
where you're running. You know
every
exactly what route you're
receiver,
running.
every receiver had to play cornerback.
Man, get out of here.
All
Y'all
right,
just the biggest
I'll
divas,
leave that
man.
alone. I'll leave that alone. All right, next question. Next question. It's often said a good pass. It's often said a good pass rush helps the defensive backs. Is this team more of vice versa? Does the coverage help the pass rush more? Which one do you think benefits or adds the most value here?
I
Pass rush,
mean, yeah, I
coverage.
mean it's kind of 50-50, depends on the call. But this defensive front definitely helps this pass defense. I mean, those guys, any given play, that quarterback, you got maybe a second, maybe two, and you got to get the ball out or you bailing or something like that. So, on this team specifically, definitely that front makes the secondary much better. Um, and it's funny because um, if you look at earlier in the year, I don't know what changed. You remember they had the bye week, right? So early in the year, it was like we
No
could
pass rush.
it was no pass rush, and then we couldn't really cover like. Maddox
Oh,
was having tough time in the interior, and it was like the Eagles changed one or two things, and then like all of a sudden, boom, got pass rush. So it goes kind of hand in hand. But me as a DB and what I know as from coaching the game, the defensive front definitely helps with the back end more than anything else.
I agree to some extent. Here's my thought with this is that we changed Avante Maddox. We brought in Isaiah Rogers for a little bit, then Slay came back, but we started to play Bryce Huff less, and we started to play Jordan Davis less.
Yeah,
Um, and then
that's
you
true.
had N'Kobe Dean started to blitz a little bit more. Um, Yeah. So
Yeah.
those were the main changes there. So when you think about all of those moves that are being made now the defensive front now is basically Milton Williams and Jalen Carter most of the time, which both of those guys are very good at rushing the passer. You got your best two defensive tackles when it comes to rushing the passer. Those two dudes are your best two defensive tackles that do it. And then when you're getting pushed, now guys can win around the edge. So if you get Jalen Carter in your kitchen right away, guess where you're going to try to escape? Outside. Now you got Nolan Smith and guys that, Sweaty, whoever it is,
Sweaty,
that
yeah.
can that are better at secondary rushes rather than being winning first. They can come off second.
Yeah.
So that's happening. But I can't take away from the coverage because the coverage has been solid. They've
Yeah.
been assignment pure. When it comes to Cooper DeJean, been assignment pure.
Yeah.
The play that Blankenship made on a Detroit sail route was an unbelievable play.
Yeah.
In cover four, that was a horrible route by the receiver. Never should have let the safety cover you in that situation. But Blankenship was able to see it. But the most impressive thing was how he got outside to get the
Yeah.
ball. Like I'm like, he still
I'm
shouldn't have
not.
been able to do that, but he ended up finding the ball and making the play. So the coverage has gotten better. Quinyon has been lights out. Slay's always going to be solid. And when Slay is technically your second best coverer, you're in a
Yeah.
good situation.
Absolutely.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so there's no more free lunches. There's no more free lunches. Now, teams are going to attack our linebackers because what we're going to talk about, next, because our linebackers is giving up some big plays.
Yeah.
But when it comes in the back end, there's no easy lunches anymore. There's no more freebies. So you got to work for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So next question.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So Austin Eckler, he caught 8 passes for 89 yards. Is there anything on tape that showed, kind of why he was able to get so open and make so many yards after the catch?
Um, Zach Bond didn't realize he isn't man to man on the first one.
Yeah.
And it was weird because usually you traveling, man, but they were in like split backs or whatever it was, and the guy went in motion and he was there on him, but he kept looking back, and everybody else is in man to man. So, but he didn't switch. Neither one of them switched. So it was
Yeah.
weird. It was like a match. I don't know. You know defense better than I do. Usually when it's man, you travel with people. They were in man to man, but the linebacker stayed on their prospective sides. They didn't worry about that. Whoever came, they were in the cover. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, if you can explain that, but he ended up having his eyes in the backfield like it was zone when it was actually man and gave up that big play.
Yeah. So I believe if I'm thinking about the right play, they started split backs, right? Or were they
Yeah,
stacked? They started split backs.
no, yeah. Then they motion.
Yeah. So what can I mean, what's happened sometimes they call it a Reggie. Basically, this is a banjo. And um most of the time as a linebackers, you're thinking post snap. So post snap after the quarterback snaps it, if my guy goes here, I'm on this side, I'm going with
Okay,
him.
going that side.
All
Okay.
right. And if they do it before the snap, he probably was like yeah, I think it was probably just a mental error
Mhm.
right there, where he probably was like, I got this guy. And then when the motion happened, I don't know what they were talking about all week in practice. It could have been a situation where um, N'Kobe was assigned to Eckler at all times. And then when he saw that, he was trying to get a switch, and then it got out too late. It could be anything at that point. But the biggest issue I have is, like you said, I mean, once the play's getting ready to snap, you gotta go. I mean, it's too late now. Like lock on your man at that point. It is what it is, and you got to make a play. I was more angry that he was allowed on that. He was allowed to get Eckler was allowed to get like an extra 20 some yards or something
Yeah,
like that because he kept trying
after he
to.
broke his sack, he kept trying to get the ball.
I'm like, dude, get him on
Just
the
put him
ground.
down.
That's all we need. But let's live
You
to
out there
see another
depending on
day.
the corners to get him down. Yeah, you got no shot. It's you. You linebacker. Yeah. So,
But
yeah, that was the one play that was about 30. I think that was like 30 something. And then he had another 25 or 30 um, on a similar play. Like a naked. It was basically a naked, and both linebackers bit down inside, and Zach Bond was the outside on that situation. And then Eckler got in the flat, and ended up with another 30.
yeah,
So it was like our linebackers are aggressive and toward the line of scrimmage, and that's the way we've been playing. So they're susceptible to misdirections. and
Yeah.
play action passes, especially to the flat, we're susceptible to it. And that's something that we're going to see a bunch of going forward. And then we just kept missing him. Like he's slick with the rock. He
Yeah.
is slick with the rock. Like I haven't seen Cooper DeJean miss a tackle all year. Sure
Yeah.
enough, missed the tackle against Eckler with the quickness. Like it was easy. He didn't have a chance to. He missed the tackle so bad that he didn't have a chance to put his hands out. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was like I was like, this dude Eckler got a little shiftiness that we can't see from this angle. That you know how that looks like when you see it from up high, you're looking at the tape, and but the dude is so good at it, you like, hold on,
Yeah,
something
man.
must have happened.
Listen, I'm a short dude, and the little short dudes are the hardest to tackle because you first of all, you don't have much that you can get a hold of. And then they're shifty, they're strong, they got a low center of gravity.
Yeah,
They tough to bring down. I mean, Sproles, Maurice Jones-Drew,
yeah.
Eckler, like all of this type of players, man. It's not easy, dude. It's
Not
not
easy.
easy.
Right? It definitely didn't look easy. But yeah, he was piecing people up after the catch. That's all it was. He was piecing people up after the catch. That's what happened. So we're going to see more of that. All of their completions came to running backs and tight end. Their receivers had. Listen to this: Terry McLaurin 1 catch, Lamade Zaccheaus 1 catch, Noah Brown 1 catch, Deami Brown 1 catch. Their receivers had 4 catches amongst the four.
That's that Cliff Kingsbury college offense right there, man. That's what
Yeah,
that is.
and it was all Eckler, Ertz, and Bates.
How about Ertz, man? He had a good game, man. I mean,
Man, Ertz annoyed me so bad. You know I love me some Zach Ertz. But I tell you this, he annoyed me so bad, smiling on the sideline as he called that. I'm like, dude, you down? Where you from smiling? I got mine though. And I love Ertz, but the truth. I'm like, what you smiling? Y'all about to lose this game. He's over there smiling. He over there hugging the quarterback, man. Thanks for giving me the ball, man.
that's how your offensive players be, man.
Man, shut up. They ain't all of us. All right, Q. What defensive tackle comes to mind for you when you watch Jalen Carter dominate a game? Any comparisons?
Damn, that's a tough one right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's so unique because he's big. Like you can't you can't really say like Sap because I feel like he's bigger and more explosive than Sap. Although Sap was a crazy athlete. I think he's just unique. I mean he's got a unique combination of size, power, and technical skill and explosiveness that I don't think I've seen in a long time. Probably the closest would be like a Warren Sapp, John Randall, someone like that. Aaron Donald, but I think he's bigger than Aaron Donald was. But his just technical skill, his hand movement, his side to side, his ability to swim, like swim one man and then dip his shoulder under the guard and then get vertical. I mean, that stuff's not easy, man. And he's just his game is just very unique to me. And I think that's what poses a lot of problems because a lot of times you'll get just a big body that just takes up space and maybe they're strong and they can push pull type of player that's just kind of a space eater. But so he's got the size of a space eater, but the quickness and agility of someone like Donald or Sapp and the technical skill of Aaron Donald. So he's really got the whole package together. And that right there is just a phenomenal thing. That's just another steal, man. Like, Howie, you say whatever you want, but getting, this defensive front, all the players that we got, but that was probably the steal of that draft when we got him when we did. So yeah, dude, he's just phenomenal. It's next level for me. I love
Yeah,
watching him play.
he's 100. He's $100 million player.
Absolutely.
More. He's going to be highest defensive tackle at his position when it's time. Whether it be here or somebody else, I'm sure is going to be here. But
It
he's
better
going to be
be.
highest paid this position. He is as dominant of a player that have worn an Eagles jersey from the defensive tackle position. He's going to be more dominant than Fletch, and Fletch had a really good run. You hear
Yeah.
Aaron Donald talk about the guys that he thinks that should be all decade, all last 15 years. Fletch is the first person that comes out of his
Yeah.
mouth. I think Jalen Carter is so good that he's going to make people not forget about Fletch, but you're going to not forget, but you're going to be like, man, this is the most dominant player since Reggie White.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I
agree.
think, and that's saying a lot because you got Fletch, you got Trent Cole, you got Hugh Douglas. We're talking about Eagles Hall of Famers. Jalen
Yeah.
Carter is going to be the best defensive player that we've had here since Reggie White. That's if he continues to stay the course and work at it. Because a player like him that's ultra talented, the only person that can stop him, if he has Aaron Donald's work ethic and regimen, my only advice to him is get with a trainer and be regimented in what you do, young man, because your ability is out of this world. His ability is out of this world. When he recognizes things like that, he doesn't always rush off the ball right away. He kind of lets the blocker declare and then like shakes and then swims and still gets there. It like he has nuance to his game. It's just not a bull in a china shop. He has
Yeah.
nuance to it. So yeah, he's when I look at it, I'm like, dude, that dude right there, if y'all can get a defensive end here at the caliber that like of a good one, like if y'all can find a defensive end somewhere, maybe first round, trade up, get the next best defensive end, man, them two dudes are gonna run this league.
Yeah.
They're literally one player away from having the best defense that's in the league. Like can you imagine if they had a TJ Watt on this team? You couldn't do anything on this defense. Like you wouldn't be able to do any. When I say anything, I'm talking about nothing. You couldn't do anything. Maybe run it. Maybe get 65 yards, 70 yards. That's about it. But passing the ball against it, can you imagine if he had somebody like that next to him? That would be insane. Like that would be insane. So keep building around that dude. Keep building around that dude. Bring that man a dominant defensive end because them two dudes.
Yeah, man.
Him with one on like if I was the offensive coordinator trying to game plan for it, I wouldn't even worry about the defense, the end. I would be trying to send my running backs up there to like just stand behind the guy. He gonna beat him one of the directions. Go hit him. Hit him on the side that he beat him on. Be lined up at 7 yards from pass protection. Why the running back lined up 7 yards? That's a run play. No, I gotta watch out for Jalen Carter. So yeah, he's special player, man. Special player. Dang. Dang.
He is, man. Good
Dang.
job.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the offensive side of the ball.
Okay. Let's see. All right. So Jay, what stood out about the slow starting offense and why has this been an issue all season?
I think our first 15 sucks.
Mm.
I just do. Like, there's multiple plays within our first 15 that they don't make sense to me because they didn't have options. Like you in the first 15, you throw out there a fake bubble screen. You threw a bubble screen. You were supposed to throw a bubble screen, but it got blew up, and so you didn't throw the bubble screen. Right. So first of all, you had Devontae Smith out there lead blocking for Gainwell. The corner shot didn't get home, but it looked like he was getting home. So Jalen pulled it down.
Mm-hmm.
So that was your bubble screen. And then you come back a few plays later and run a fake bubble screen off of it. Like the first one didn't work. And then this team has a high tendency to play cover two at times. So that should even like, so if you're going to run the fake bubble screen, like down the field shot thing, at least couple it with the inside zone. So when you see cover two, you don't waste the play. You can just hand the ball off. But he just called it standalone. Like that's not a standalone play. That needs an option on it.
Yeah.
You know, like they ran the ball um, with it was basically a five-man run scheme, basically like a five blockers in front of you. Everybody else escaped the backfield some kind of way, and there was just Saquon there. They had a 7-man front. He got tackled in the backfield for a loss. I'm like, and it was no kill. They just called it and ran it. I'm like, you're looking at this. There's no tight end. Everybody's extended away from the line of scrimmage. It's 7 people up there. It's just your running back and 5 offensive linemen. What the hell you think is going to happen? It was 7 defensive players at the line of scrimmage. Like, why are you running this? That doesn't make sense to me. There's multiple times where Jalen Hurts doesn't have anybody open on a particular play in his zone. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. So I think that the play calling has a lot to do with it. I don't think that it's always easy. Now, if he's the play caller is not the only one. Jalen missed some throws in there. I think Dallas Goddard, he had like a stick. Jalen chose the right side. It was like zone either side. He chose the closest to the boundary. You got a stick concept. You got to get open on stick. It's a stick concept. Like you feel the defender, you go away from the defender. He went right underneath a defender, and like I'm scratching my head. Like y'all are veterans.
Yeah.
You run to where space is. You don't go and get covered up, and the quarterback is looking like, oh, I got to throw the ball away. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to it. Then Jalen missed the throw or two. There was a play down in the red zone that kind of drove me nuts. I don't know if it was in the first, but the one that Jalen went to the 10 on where he got crunched.
Yeah.
That was basically a mesh concept. We call it web. AJ Brown is supposed to set the point. You go 4 or 5 yards, go across the field, and you keep your line straight.
Uh-huh.
Devontae Smith is coming underneath. You run right at AJ Brown, and right at the last second, you go underneath him. But here's the problem. You don't run that play with superstars. You know why? Because AJ Brown's the one that's used to getting it. Because what is he going to do? He's going to think in that moment that, oh, this could be coming to me. And both of them run into each other. So you usually put one person there that's designated as the picker, that's used to not getting the ball, that knows how to execute that and run that extremely well. And those two dudes run into each other because both of them are used to being an underneath man.
Mm.
So both of them, when they went to avoid, they avoided underneath and ran right into each other. You know what I mean? So it drove me nuts. I'm like, come on, y'all. But Jalen still should have known where based on the coverage, based on what routes he had run, he should knew that was going to pop anyway.
Yeah.
So if you're going to escape out, I should be anticipating it coming at some point. And still could have should have been a touchdown, even though he couldn't get it out, but he still should have been able to get it out. So there's misreads. There's some drop passes. Let me get my phone out, Q, because it's a lot. I'm going on a tangent. I'm sorry, brother.
No, you good.
So first series killed by Becton. Holding on the 23-yard line. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Second series, he had Devontae on the shallow cross. He stepped up and ended up getting sacked by Luvu. He ended up stepping up a little bit too fast. Devontae Smith, a shallow cross that probably went for 10 or 12, had the first down. Jalen missed that. He just missed it because he stepped up in the pocket, and the guy did a good job of not over rushing. You know what I mean? He stayed. He went to the level of the quarterback and then retraced and ended up getting him down. Right? Third series in the game. Third offensive series. Devontae Smith drop on the sideline. Slant route dropped by Dotson on third down.
Oh, I mean, I was mad about that one.
Yeah, right. Um, Field goal, third series field goal attempt, but that was the like when I say bad plays, like that was the reverse double
I was gonna
reverse.
ask. Can you explain that play? Like, I remember
First of
watching it.
all, first of all, it wasn't open anyway. There was nobody open on the play, not a soul open on the play. Even if they would have, if it would have, if they would have got the play off, it was nobody open. So Jalen would have been running anyway. So yeah, do I don't know what they were thinking about or doing. I don't know. Washington was ready for it. They sent the extra guy off the inner line of scrimmage. The guard ended up trying to pick him up, ended up pushing him wide right into Jalen. It was bad. It was badly executed up front when it came to protection. It was bad when it came to timing. The guys were too close to each other down the field. The routes were bad. It just seemed like they put that in the game plan for this week, and it wasn't something that they normally practice. It seemed like that was a play that you call Redskin. We put it in just for this week, or Commander. We put that in just for this week because we may not ever run it again. Yeah.
See, hold on, and I'm gonna add my 2 cents on
Go
that.
ahead.
The biggest problem I had with that is the defensive player was there was no run set up at that point. Like
Mhm.
normally you got to be gashing the defense. You got to get the safety's eyes like, oh, I got to get downhill. I ain't trying to get ran over again. So that was the biggest thing to me that surprised me on that play call. Is like we hadn't really established the run. We hadn't been gashing. We hadn't been really even attempting to run the ball at that
Yeah.
point. So that was what kind of threw me off. But yeah, go ahead, continue.
No, that was it. And for the life of me, I don't understand at the beginning of the game why we're so balanced. And we weren't balanced enough. We were like 70-30 pass run. What team is this? I don't know that team. The team that's been winning these games has been 60-40 run pass. Really 55. But yeah, close. I don't know a
Yeah.
team that's 70-30 when it comes to pass. I don't know. I know the team that's done it in the past that ended up going on the team, losing all them games at the end of the year.
Yep.
I know that team, but the team that's been winning has been a run first team. So I just think that even in your first 15, stick to your principles. Don't
Yeah.
get into a situation where we depending on, you know, the past that much. And I can go on and on because I usually jot the entire game on how they
But
scored and all that stuff. But I'll go on and on with that. Let me get to your question, unless you
well,
want to
hold
ask something.
on, because I think this is a good conversation because I really wanted to ask you this question, and I don't know if we ever talked about the first 15. Can you explain like what the first 15 is and then kind of like how that comes about? Because to me, the thing that I notice, like you're saying, it just feels disjointed and like do multiple coaches get a say in the first 15? Does the offensive
Ooh.
coordinator get the final say? Is that what's going on? It's like, hey, I want my plays in here, I want my plays in there. How does that come about each week?
Well, the first 15 is it's the plays that you think are that you have studied the most. You studied the Commanders' defense, and you say, okay, I'm going to devise these 15 plays to start out the game because they're going to give us the best chance against their particular defense. Now, I have plays that I think that are in our base plays that we run normally that I think will work, but we're going to design 15 plays particularly for their defense or call these plays because we're trying to set up this. We those plays a lot of times are for setting up things for later and also just attacking their defense. So those plays are the most processed plays. It's supposed to be your best against what you saw on film. It's supposed to be your best to get your offense started. Those 15 plays should be some of your most successful plays of the day.
Okay.
because those are plays that should be winners. The only
Okay.
time those plays are not usually winners is if your defensive coordinator on your defense coordinator on I mean the defense coordinator just switches up part of his game plan to what he does for your from opposite of what you guys seen on film. That's the only time it usually doesn't work. Or defensive line play or something is outstanding that day. But those plays supposed to be your most successful plays. What was the other question about that? And yes, who has say so in it? The
Yeah.
offensive coaches usually get together. So let's say in Stoutland's case, Stoutland is going to go to the offensive coordinator and say, "Hey, listen, these are the runs that we want to have first."
Okay.
And the offense coordinator devise it, how we're going to run it, which formations or whatever it is. But these are the run plays I like the most. And then the offense coordinator takes what Stoutland says, and I'm going to put that into this. He goes to the quarterback's coach. Which plays do you think that Jalen, successfully? And then they have communication on these are plays I like. So he pulls those plays, pulls all the plays from the coaches, and then he devises the scheme. That's how it normally works. If you have Andy will have his plays, and then he'll take feedback from everyone else, and then they'll discuss it. How do we want to attack them? So that's how that normally works. So that was a
Okay.
roundabout answer. So that's how it should work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just know like
But no, it's been bad.
yeah.
It's been bad. It's been bad. It's been bad. I don't. Here's the only time we struggle with the first 15 is when we're doing things that are totally outside of the framework of what we do. So we may see a play that the Panthers did on the Commanders, and we try to mimic that play so much, but it's not naturally in the framework of what we do.
Got you. So
So usually every team runs the same play, so we can kind of make that play our own because we have similar concepts. But if it's something totally different, there's a high chance that we mess that play up because we don't know the inner workings of the play. We just see what happens on the field. We don't know, oh, the quarterback has to do this feint right here. The receiver has to stutter at this point. The offensive line has to show hands at this point. Like, we don't know the inner workings of the play. We just know what we saw. Sort of like trying to mimic a dance move from YouTube, right? You're not coached on it. You're just trying to practice what you see, but you don't know how the breakdown of the step. You're just looking at it.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Like on a blitz, like if you don't really understand how a blitz is supposed to work, but you trying to emulate it, especially a zone blitz. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and before you know it, you gave up a big play. We saw the Steelers do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. All right, Q. Jalen Hurts had a few back-breaking first down runs in the second half. How difficult are those to defend?
Yeah, they're always tough. I mean, anytime, because a lot of times, especially if you're in some type of two-man or man coverage, it can be very, very costly. Yardage wise, and then just overall scheme wise. Because if you're calling plays, defensive coordinator, if you got a quarterback that's gonna pull it if you're a man, especially a two-man, and he's getting those yards, it makes you shy off calling that coverage again, even if you had success with it early in the game. So, it forces you to play more safe defense, more zones, and it can definitely have a effect on your scheme. So, Jalen, I think this offense, when he does do that, I think any quarterback, when he sees coverage and nobody's open, if he's able to get out of the pocket and hurt the defense when you have good coverage and you have a good rush, that's more costly than anything. So, I know there's this big thing, and I've said it multiple times about, quarterbacks running and that whole deal, but I just know as a defensive player and a defensive coach, if you got a quarterback that's willing to pull it and hurt you, that causes hell on your defense. So
Yeah.
hopefully he'll continue to do that. Don't get no hits though. Just get your butt down. He need to learn how to slide, man. He be getting like right up to the defensive linemen or linebackers and try to like slide back real late. Man,
Yeah,
he gonna get smoked
he
one
gonna
of these
get
days.
tagged one of those. Yeah, he gonna get tagged.
So you need to get his yardage and get down. But yeah, man, the you know the scrambling is definitely something that can hurt a defense.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that later in that game, that the times that we needed on a 3rd and 7 or the 3rd and 3s or third and whatever it is, and he can pick it up. Those are huge plays. And also, you got to when you run as much zone read as we run, you got to keep him honest, and he able to do that now. And he seems, like I said, he seems more energetic and more passionate about doing it. So I enjoy it. I think it keeps the defense honest,
Mhm.
and it'll win you a game. Just look at the Kansas City Chiefs and in Buffalo the other day. The game on the line.
Yeah,
Josh Allen 4th and 2.
that was a huge play.
Yeah, it was a huge play, win the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, or seal the game. So you have a quarterback that can do that. That's more power to you. All right, this is one is for both of us, Q. Even after a slow first half, Saquon finished 146 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Is Barkley a legit MVP candidate?
I mean, he definitely is a candidate.
But
Yeah, I don't think he'll win it because there's a little guy up the road a little bit in Baltimore that is playing lights out. Lamar Jackson is on another level right now, and he's poised to win his third. Would it be his third one?
after this
MVP?
game he just played, I think he about to go down. He just played a terrible game.
It's one game. It's one game.
Dude,
It's one
no,
game.
no. You 1-4 versus the Steelers. You can't beat the Chiefs. People are going to get tired of that. And then Josh Allen goes in and does what he does
Yeah, Josh Allen.
in this game. I don't know, Q.
I don't know. He's definitely got the stats. Saquon's got the stats, but it's a
It's a quarterback award, so that's why he won't win the
yeah, man.
MVP. But he can win the offensive MVP,
Yeah.
which is what we're talking about, not the MVP of the league, but the offensive MVP. So it says MVP, but he's not winning MVP because that's a quarterback award. But
Was
he
he
can
talking
win
about for the team? Or was he talking about for the league?
for the league offensive MVP. They give you offensive MVP now because the quarterback award is the MVP award. So the best player outside of the quarterback offensively can win that
Is that the offensive player of the year?
offensive
So
player
you
of the
mean
year.
to tell me that they basically got two MVPs for
Basically,
just so the offensive players wouldn't be too upset because the
they might
quarterbacks
they might as well just name the MVP the quarterback award, best quarterback award. That's what they should do.
just coddling, man. Just coddling. The NFL coddles the offensive players, and I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of it.
Well, we make all the money, Q. Nobody comes to see y'all. You know what I mean? We Dave Ruffin.
Dang.
Nobody come to see you, Otis. Oh
Oh
man.
man, great
But no,
movie.
yeah. So, but I think that he's like that. I think Saquon is the only thing I can see it being a negative for Saquon is of how much open how big his holes are. Like I don't know if that helps or hurts him. It helps him because it's a lot to run on, but you be like, man, who can't do that? You see how big these lanes are? This dude is not getting touched till he like 6 yards down the field. And then he doesn't get touched because he fast. But
Yeah,
it's tough to create lanes that big. And this offensive line for everybody. Miles Sanders went over, DeAndre
yeah.
Swift went over, Saquon's like they doing it for everybody. It's not just Saquon. So like I think Saquon can be the offensive MVP, but I don't know if it's going to hurt him at the run in because they be like, oh, he played the Eagles offensive line. You know what I mean? Like, so, I don't know if that hurt him at all.
That's the same stuff they were saying about Hurts. Oh yeah, he good and everything, but look at how many superstars he got on his team. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
I think he's great. I think he's a great player outside of the offense line. He's a great player.
Yeah.
It's like to me, I'm just like, dude, these lane like when people are saying Saquon ball, the offensive line is balling. Like Saquon's balling, but the offensive line collectively, that's what they should have. They should have the offensive line award, which I don't think that they have. Jeff, if they do, please correct me with this, but they need an offensive line of the year award. I do they have that yet? They should.
They
If they don't, they should have it. They should name it, whatever it is, the best offensive line in history. Name it after them, but whoever it is, they should get it. They should have got it the last couple of years.
I agree.
But our offensive line is kicking butt, and Saquon
Absolutely.
is doing the rest though. So they opened up for 6 yards, but he's still taking it 35.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And it's always to the right. Second half, it always starts to the
Starts to the
left.
right. It can cut back left, but it starts at lane.
Yeah.
It starts at lane, and then everything else can happen. Last thing before we end the show, Q. Um, I wanted to say this with the Eagles. Eagles could possibly be facing their toughest game of the year this week
Oh yeah.
against the Rams. You know why? Not because the Rams are so tough, and the Rams are a better team than what people think they are, and it's in LA and all of that. But this is a trap game because it's the first time all year where the fans are like this.
Mhm.
The fans are talking about the Super Bowl. They're talking about how we can beat the Lions, and they're doing a great job. Nick Sirianni's the toast of the town. Saquon Barkley's the MVP. Our team is playing well. We proved that we can beat the Commanders. All of this and all of that. This is the letdown type of a game, so they got to be focused.
We need
Eagles
Crazy
fans,
Nick. We need Crazy Nick back for this
Eagles
week.
fans, don't get the resting on your laurels. Be assholes all the time. Be assholes now because our team needs it. I'm trying to tell you.
Just start booing Nick as soon as he get on the field. Just start cursing
Yeah,
him
start
out.
booing them. They start playing better. All right, you got the last word, Q. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you send your questions to insidethebirds@gmail.com.
Yeah, man, that's it. It's great seeing you, man. Love talking with you. And yeah, man, not too much. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.